Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! So this is not my story but my dad's. So dad will be, well, my dad. And the idiot will be, well, the idiot of the story. Note, my dad didn't know the idiot personally, so he works as a police chief. The idiot robbed a store and got caught. The judge sentenced the idiot 1 year in jail. And my dad and his team were to take him to the courthouse and to prison. But it was late and they wanted to go home already, and they had already given their guns back to the police station. So they go pick up the idiot and they drive him to the prison, and when he gets out, the idiot tries to run for it, but he was in handcuffs and the snow was up to his knees, so the idiot barely got 10 meters before he got caught, and my dad then brought him in. But my dad knows for running, he would need to write up a report about the fact that the idiot tried to do that, but it's late and my dad wanted to go home, so he decided to let the idiot off the hook for it. In those times you could do that. And here is the best part. This idiot started to write to my dad's boss about how when I tried to run away, they started to shoot at me and blah blah blah. And of course my dad's boss was confused because my dad never gave a report about an attempt to escape, so another trial started, and it was about the attempt of escape with the same judge. And the idiot started to whine to the judge about how they started to shoot at him and he almost died. But remember how I said my dad already gave his gun up to the police station before he went to pick up this idiot? Well, every time you give your gun back, you need to sign signatures and at what time you gave your gun. And the only thing they had to show is one piece of paper which had proved they didn't even have guns on them at that moment, and the judge then gave the idiot 3 more years in jail. First, some backstory. My close family has been plagued by an annoying / entitled Karen, who was actually my father's grandmother. I never really liked my father's side of our extended family, except for his mother, who was an angel, and his grandfather, but that's not relevant to the story. However, this poor excuse for a woman, who we will call Karen, has crossed many lines over the last few years. Now, I wasn't the only one who didn't like her. Most of our family kind of hated her, mainly for the things she has done in the past 1 or 2 years. I'll get to that a bit later. Looking back at her behavior, I'd say she must have gone completely crazy at some point, although I guess I can't really blame her, because she apparently lost an apartment and a lot of money after she broke up with a man she fell in love with, who somehow convinced her to give him a lot of her stuff and real estate. Now, the story I'm about to tell you happened in our big 2-story family house, in which I lived together with my 2 brothers, my mom, my dad, my grandfather, and my great-grandmother, Karen's sister, and also in our fairly large garden with a gazebo. This will be important later. Karen used to live in our country's capital city, and our house is located in a quaint town in the north of the country, about 120 kilometers from the capital city. Ever since she broke up with her boyfriend and lost basically everything, although it's kind of her fault, she has been acting strange, and as I said, I think she must have gone crazy. As far as I know, she became homeless soon after, and started traveling between the capital city, our town, and other nearby towns, begging, I suppose. I actually saw her begging in the city where I attended high school. So yes, I know for sure she's been begging even before our little story happened. Now, even before the main incident, there have been many minor incidents involving Karen. She used to stay at our house from time to time, even before she became homeless. And one day, my grandfather noticed there was a jacket missing. I don't know if it was expensive or not, but either way, the jacket disappeared just as Karen was leaving our house one day. I'm quite sure she eventually admitted she stole. So there is that. Other incidents involved asking her sister, who's in her 80s now, for money or stealing some other stuff from our house. Anyway, on to the story. As I said, there is a gazebo in our garden, and one rainy afternoon, Karen decided to break into our garden and take a nap in it. To be fair, a bit of the fence was missing because we were making some adjustments to the garden, so it wasn't hard to get in. But that still doesn't mean you can just walk into our garden and spend the night there, right? Anyway, my brother and I were in our room which overlooks the garden. Suddenly, my brother gestures to me to come and have a look. There she was, Karen, in all her glory, getting comfy in our garden. I hardly ever take the initiative as I'm quite introverted, but this time someone was invading my home turf. I guess my primal instinct somehow kicked in. Anyway, I put on my jacket and went outside. When I got to the gazebo, my grandfather was already there, shouting at Karen. There is not much dialogue and it might not be very accurate, but the main idea and the outcome are still the same. Granddad tells her, "If you don't get the hell out of here, I will call the police." Now, I remember Karen's voice as this hellish, screeching, high-pitched noise ever since I was little. I haven't really seen this woman too many times, but I know she used to visit us when I was little. She was a normal human being at that point. Karen tells him, "Go on, call them. This house is mine just as much as it's yours." I should clarify that this house apparently used to belong to Karen at some point, but we bought it a long time ago. She didn't even own a single brick in this house when this happened. Granddad tells her, "That's nonsense. We bought it years ago." My grandfather then went and called the police while I was trying to calmly tell her to leave. "Karen, just leave. You can't stay here." Karen kept sitting in the gazebo, still getting comfy and shouting, calling us names, and you get the point. Few minutes later, 2 policemen arrived at our house. Granddad tells him, "There she is," pointing at Karen. "She is trespassing. This is private property." Karen tells my granddad, "Is this how you repay me after everything I've done for you?" She didn't really do anything for my granddad or our family in general, as far as I know. The 2 police officers were just standing there. I don't want to call them useless, so I hope they were at least listening to the story and watching the situation, although they did look quite uninterested in the whole ordeal. "Ungrateful jerks, all of you! Is this how you treat an old, helpless woman?" Karen kept calling us names, and it looked like she had no intentions of moving off our property. Police Officer 1 tells her, "Ma'am, you have to leave. This is a private property, and if the others don't want you here, you can't stay here." "But this is my house. I have the right to stay here." She kept shouting stuff like this ever since the police officers arrived. "Ma'am, you have to leave. Come with us," the other police officer tells her. They didn't handcuff her or anything, but I'm pretty sure my grandfather helped her leave by dragging her off the property. Either way, she left without the involvement of the police really. I guess the police officers were kind of useless after all. While she was roaming our street, she kept screaming and slandering us in front of our neighbors and nearby passerbys. After this incident, and actually before it also, Karen used to bang at our front door from time to time, demanding to see her sister, my senile great-grandmother, who kept on helping her despite what she's done to us and to herself. Karen kept on harassing us until we pressed charges against her for harassing and disturbing us, and she finally stopped after this process ended. It is. To some people, our behavior may seem heartless, but it really isn't. Since there is only so much we could put up with, despite her being basically a stranger to us, we offered her more than enough help, but she basically just spat in our faces and refused professional help. Me and my brothers never really considered her as a family member, and I'm sure the older generations, our parents for example, didn't either. I work at Mindy's drive-thru, a popular fast food joint in the US, name changed. One of our hottest sellers besides our grilled chicken wraps, spicy chicken and chili, is our potatoes. Well, top them with whatever you want, they are delicious. And they are equally long to prepare, like 55 minutes long. We try to prepare them ahead of time, but so it takes us 2 cars in a row going on a potato run to wipe us out. That's what happened this time. Whenever we got low, we put more on and sometimes microwave them from half done when needed. Sometimes we're unsure as to the quality of our potatoes, so we check to make sure they haven't been waiting around too long and turned bad. They can get mushy or dark, just gross and unservable. That was also the case tonight. Every time we get a potato order through the drive-thru, we ask them to hold on while we check to make sure we have good ones. So grumpy customer swings through our drive-thru and I greet them. Thanks for choosing Mindy's. How can I help you? I get a very crotchety, I want potatoes. I'm picking potatoes now. I reply, sir, let me check if we have them right now. I turn to my manager, Bruce, who is on a prep station because yet again somebody called in. Bruce heard the guy and began checking. The potatoes in the bin were bad. And right as I'm about to tell the guy now Bruce says, oh hold on, and checks the oven. It was clear that we had potatoes at this point based on his thumbs up. And just I'm about to tell the good news from the Mount Potato I hear, damn it jerk, you either do or you don't. Tell me right now whether I have potatoes. Enter the malicious compliance. I replied instantly, you know what? You're right, we either do or we don't. And seeing where I can't confirm or deny at this time, I'd have to say that no, we don't have potatoes right now. Sorry. The guy replies with, well, thanks for wasting my time, jerk. Oh, you're welcome. Seriously, this guy was looking around at all the dirty crooks and the cheats of the world, when he could have been getting down to this sick beat. The best part was Bruce holding up 2 potatoes as a guy drove by flipping us off. It was great seeing his angry praise change to bewilderment all the while. Loved it. On a very unrelated side note, yes, I also teach middle school and college. This is my 3rd gig if you don't count tutoring. Just yesterday I stood my kids up for the pledge and legit said, thanks for choosing Mindy's, how can I help you? I guess so long as I don't send my fry guy to detention. When I was younger, I worked in an office for a printing company. My boss was notorious for his strict adherence to company policies, particularly when it came to dress code. One day, he made an announcement that all employees must wear black footwear with no exceptions. This rule caught my attention, and I decided to have some fun at my boss's expense because he really was an awful micromanaging boss. You could never do anything right, so the next day I walked into the office wearing black flippers. You know, diving flippers, instead of traditional black shoes, which is clearly how black footwear is meant to have been interpreted. As I made my way down the hallways, all my colleagues couldn't help but burst into laughter. The sight of a professional employee strutting around in flippers was too amusing to resist. Word quickly spread and soon everyone was giggling and peeking out of their cubicles to catch a glimpse of my act of defiance, or shall we say, malicious compliance. When the boss got sight of my unconventional footwear, his face turned bright red with anger. He stormed over, veins pulsating on his forehead and everything, ready to shout. However, before he got a chance to say anything, I pointed out that I was indeed following his policy of wearing black footwear. I think he was close to completely losing it because, well, he stormed off into his office, grunting like a warthog. Technically, I had complied with his instructions, and there was no explicit mention of traditional footwear in the policy. He couldn't take any disciplinary action without seeming unfair. My colleagues found this situation even more hilarious at this point. I got many compliments for outsmarting our strict boss. From that day forward, my act of malicious compliance became legendary in the office. It sparked a newfound sense of rebellion, with employees pushing the boundaries of the dress code in hilarious and imaginative ways. Some wore black sneakers with flashing LED lights, while others donned black high-heeled slippers. The office became a more vibrant and joyful place, with employees embracing their individuality while technically adhering to his directives. The absurdity of the situation left him fuming, but he didn't want to look stupid by changing his policy again so quickly. It's safe to say we didn't see him in the main office much after that day. In the end, I hoped he learned an invaluable lesson about the importance of specifics and clarity, while also learning that people can have fun while working to create a better morale and improve the workplace. But a week later he was gone. He was replaced by a lovely lady that found this whole situation very funny and complimented us all on how good the morale was here. So this happened a while ago. I had to deliver some of our company's products from one worksite to another multiple times. I usually arrived before the other employees started their work, so I figured I could unload my car already in order to save my coworkers time and for me to not be interrupted during my work later during the day. Plus, I was the one who knew which products were ordered by which customer, so I didn't have to spend time on figuring out which belongs to which customer, since I was the one who loaded everything into the car. So I put all the loose products for each customer from the trunk on a separate Euro pallet, pushed it into our workshop with a pallet truck, put the delivery notices on each of them, and left them in a visible place for my coworker to move them wherever he wanted whenever he wanted without much hassle or manpower needed. When he arrived and started working, I went up to him and told him what products arrived and for which customer these were, in order to make sure he knows about the orders as well. Since I didn't know where to put the pallets, I placed them into the workshop via the pallet truck because I didn't want these products to stay outside and opening up an opportunity for passerby to steal the company's products. After I did the same procedure twice, he came up to me and gave me a 10-minute lecture about how it could possibly come to my mind to make such a huge mess in the workshop. He criticized that I put the products in the wrong place, messed up his storage system, and that the products fell off the Euro pallets all the time. Which is funny because, well, it didn't happen when I used the pallet truck to bring them into the workshop. As such, he declared I'm not allowed to unload the car again. A week later, we received a huge order with over 2 tons worth of products. I had 560 kilograms of different products customized but not packaged in my trunk. As per his request, I didn't unload the car. At some point, he came up to me and asked me to unload it. My response? No, I'll just make a huge mess in the workshop, and we don't want the products to fall off from the pallets. You should just do it by yourself. His face when he realized he had to sort it all out himself and manually unload it, it was quite funny. It was even better when he noticed I couldn't bring a delivery notice because the order wasn't complete yet. Thus, he had to check every single product to write down what products arrived in which quantity already. All by himself. Of course, I knew the quantities, but he didn't ask me. That 5-minute task easily took him half an hour to do.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.